Hi there. Welcome to Have It All. I am your host and the creator, Anna K. Morris, and I'm thrilled that you're here because if you are here, it means that you're interested in having it all, or maybe you're curious about what I and my guests have to say about having it all. Can we? Do we know what it is that we want? And once we get it, are we wise enough to know that we have it? And are we worthy enough to hold on to it? That's what we'll be exploring on the podcast. I'm so happy you're here, and let's get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Have It All podcast. I am so happy you're here, and it's been a minute since I've done a solo episode, and I'm really happy to be here with you talking about the signs are everywhere. Okay, so my favorite way to demonstrate any lesson is always with a story, because what's better than stories? I have 2 young kids, as you know, and it's always story time at our house, which is perfect because I think when I first got together with Derek, I would ask him to tell me a story when I would go to bed at night, and he was like, what? He's also not good at telling stories. So that became apparent, and he's really had to work on that as a parent. But I am a storyteller, so I'm going to start with that. The signs are always there. So let me tell you what's been happening over here in my life. And if you're on my Instagram or on my email list, you would have already seen this, but you haven't heard me tell you the story. So I'll tell you the story. I believe that God is always conspiring in our favor. So anything it is that I desire, that you want, is available. And the only thing in the way is your resistance. So I've been working a lot with this. I'm a coach, so I'm constantly seeing it for my clients, and I'm also looking at it for myself, which is why I love journaling so much, because that's where I really put the pen to the paper and I look at my own resistance. Okay, so here we go. Last week, Derek and I were in the kitchen cleaning the kitchen. The boys had just gone to sleep. Evenings are always really a lot. They never want to go to bed, so it's always like an adventure. And I'm in the kitchen, I'm totally exhausted, and Derek says to me, I really think we should learn SEO for our companies. He's got a design build company, I have a coaching company. And it put me, ladies out there, if you know what I'm talking about, or anybody, it put me right over. I was like, you can learn SEO if that's what you want to do. But I'm at capacity. I have no bandwidth to learn effing SEO, right? Is what I said. He was like, oh, okay, sorry. I just thought I'd be good for our businesses. And I was like, I don't have time for that. And I don't even want to have this conversation. And please go out of the kitchen so I can just clean it quietly by myself. So that was that. The next day, I have a podcast booked with a woman named Jordan. If you may already know, she was on my podcast. That's the last episode. And 10 minutes before the interview, because Jordan and I did not know each other, and I don't even know how she found me. Her assistant found me and sent in a request to be on my podcast, which is not normally what happens. Everybody that I interview, I've either met or is a friend of mine or was referred to me from somebody. So that's usually how I meet my guests. So Jordan's an atypical. And 10 minutes before the interview, because I don't have to prep because I know everybody that is on the show, 10 minutes before the interview, I'm making a fried egg. I haven't eaten, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to eat real quick before the interview. I'm making a fried egg. As I'm about to flip it, I realize, holy shit, Anna, do you know anything about your guest coming on the show today? And I realize I don't. So I go to Jordan's Instagram, not a lot there, which is going to be telling for the podcast. If you want to go back and listen to the last podcast, I think it's episode 27, 28, something like that. Anyway, it's with Jordan Becerra. It says SEO in the title. So I go and look her up and I'm like, oh, she doesn't have a ton. I realize she has 2 kids, looks like about, the same age as mine. So that's something we can connect on. But SEO, I'm like, what the F am I going to talk to you about SEO? I just admitted that I have no idea what SEO is. And I also don't know that I think it's that important, because if I did, I would have done it by now. So the next hour, I get literally floored. Like, I'm speechless in much of the interview, which I am not ever speechless, about the data that Jordan is sharing about SEO, the difference between Google and Instagram, which is obvious. Yes, I know. However, so many of us, especially if you are a female-owned business, especially if you are in the coaching field, are selling on Instagram, which is not where people go to buy, right? You go to Google to buy, you go to Google to search, you go to Google Ready to put your credit card in. You don't as much on Instagram. Now, I get that that's shifting a little bit, but it's social media, not selling media, just fundamentally. So she gives us all this amazing data, and it is absolutely extraordinary, except this is the pull through that I want you to pay attention to. So this is all about the signs are everywhere. Okay. So here SEO on Tuesday night is the topic in the kitchen that I shut down. Wednesday, noon, I'm in a 1-hour podcast. Jordan and I end up on the phone, we actively keep talking for another hour and a half. So I'm on the phone with Jordan for 2.5 hours, which I am never on the phone that long with anybody. I don't even talk to anybody for that long, not even my coaching clients. So that's highly unusual for me. But it's so fascinating. I'm learning so much, and I'm so sold on the data that she's giving me, right? That I immediately ask her after the interview, what does it look like to work with you? Because this is the thread. This is the point of the signs are everywhere. Because if you happen to see the sign like I did, SEO on Tuesday night, on Wednesday, SEO Queen is on my podcast on accident. I'll say, I'm using air quotes if you're listening. I'm using air quotes. Nothing's an accident. Literally, we called SEO into our lives because Derek and I are both looking to massively expand our businesses and our visibility and our reach. And it's not been working the way that I've been doing it. Word of mouth and Instagram, not working. Summits are great, but summits are a ton of work. So I love doing them, but I can't maintain it doing it monthly. And I just found that out by doing 2 back-to-back. So here's the thing. I hired her. I signed up the next day for her strategized SEO. So if you go to her website, it's the $3.99 a month package, which may sound like a lot to some of you. It at one point would have sounded like a lot to me, except that the night before I always like to sleep on things. So I slept on it. And the night before, somebody signed up for a coaching program with me that did anyway, whatever. The payments worked out to be about $399 a month. So there's another sign, right? The money that I didn't have, that I wasn't comfortable necessarily spending, that I wanted to sleep on, that I wanted to think about, then landed in my account that night. There's another sign, right? So I signed up to work with her, and now I'm off and running on really leaning into blogging and talking about the importance of journaling and how specifically I teach people to journal their guts out, because it's very different than other journaling practices. I assume everybody knows it, and people don't. So there we go. So all of that happened. So all of those signs were there. And here's the next part. You have to take action. Every single time I saw a sign, I took an action. I would see a sign, I would take another action. Okay? That is essential, because the signs can only happen if you are dancing with God. If you are asking for signs and then not taking action, you will stop having the signs. They will not be available to you. You will not see them, because God will say, oh, well, I guess I didn't really want that. I guess she didn't really want to grow her business, because here's this SEO queen and she's not doing it. Okay. So you get the idea. You have to take the action if you want to get what it is that you desire in a timely manner, right? So anything that you want is available to you. I know I've said this before. For those of you that follow Esther and Abraham Hicks, or don't, even if you don't, like go down the rabbit hole. Absolutely brilliant work. It's something that is so very powerful. So Esther Hicks, Ask and It Is Given is my Bible personally. Okay, so then I go on a retreat. I go to Portland, Oregon, have the most amazing experience with a bunch of women that I really didn't know. I mean, some of them I kind of knew, but not met like briefly in person. And then we've only really connected online. So like to have 3 days with them was absolutely extraordinary and really did like tons of healing work, right? Everybody led kind of a different thing during the retreat. It was like a retreat / girls trip. Okay, so all of that being said, I'm on this high. I know exactly, like I'm so dialed in. I know where I'm going with my business. And then you come back to reality, right? So earlier today, I found myself thinking, can it really be like, is this really enough? Is this really enough? Because within my coaching, I'm leaning fully into what I really teach my clients, which is how to journal their guts out. Somebody said you should call it journal your heart out. And I'm like, that's really guts. We're going to get to your heart, but I really get into people's guts and some really deep like inner child work and story work because I love stories, as you know. And so I found myself questioning whether or not that was enough, whether or not I was enough, right? Because whenever you're thinking whether is this enough, the underneath it is, am I enough, right? So I know all of this and I'm thinking that. And I'm like, maybe I should expand my scope. This is kind of what I'm ruminating on. And the next minute I checked my email and I got an email from my friend, Stephanie Affinito. I've had her as a guest on the podcast before. So please go and look, Stephanie Affinito. I'll link it in the show notes too. But Stephanie I've never met Stephanie and she's just one of my favorite people. She's just like peaceful and so calming every time I talk to her, and every time I get a message from her, it's just like soothing. And she asked me to come on her podcast or something. I don't even remember. It was very, very quick that I saw it because I immediately called her to tell her that she was the next sign that I needed to keep going in the direction that I'm going, because she's asked me to come on and teach about journaling your guts out. Because she knows that I teach journaling in a really specific way. And there's the other sign. And of course, I'm saying yes to whatever it is that she wants me to do. I'm in. And then I called to acknowledge her and tell her what a difference she had made in my life. Because, yes, of course, I want to do the thing that she is asking me to do, but also I want her to know that she was my sign today. So I say all of that because whatever it is you are asking for, I want you to consider it's landing in your lap. The sign is right there, right? I can think of another one. On Thursday, I got a speeding ticket. I never get speeding tickets. I never get tickets. I didn't even know what was going on. And I didn't know I was speeding. I thought the speed limit was 40 and I was going 41 and it was 30. Hence why the speeding ticket. And as I'm sitting there, I put on this song by Rising Appalachia, Thank You Very Much. Because I was like, I feel like this is one of those signs and I don't know why and I don't know what for, but I'm going to be grateful because maybe it's the sign that I needed. I'm realizing it like as I'm shooting this video, like maybe it's the sign I need to slow down, pay attention, right? Although I wouldn't have because it's not marked and now I'm going to go fight it in court and I actually can't wait because I love fighting stuff sometimes. But it wasn't marked. I went back to the scene of the crime to look and the speed sign was further after. And that's why I didn't know what the speed limit was. But Derek told me that I should have known that for my driving test. But anyway, tomato. Consider that anything that you want is possible. And the sign is there if you can slow down, pay attention, and see it that way. So I'm going to say thank you for the speeding ticket. I don't know who I'm going to meet in court when I go and show up March 27th to fight it. I don't know what's going to happen as a result, but I do know that it's now on my radar to slow down. That's why I'm even shooting this coaching video. I have missed doing this. And I remembered when I slowed down, I thought, what am I not doing that I really, really miss? What do I crave? And I was like, I'm not creating enough for anybody to consume. I coach my clients, but that's not for anyone and everyone. And it's moments like that when you start to take an action, when you get that sign from God, and then you go and take an action, man, so many more come your way. They start to come with velocity. Things happen and you literally can't believe it. And your only job is to keep up and don't resist it. Keep leaning in to all the beauty, all the magic, all the miracles that are right there on the other side of your resistance. Okay, I love you. If you are interested in getting any of this coaching in your own life, I traditionally have only offered 3-month coaching packages, but I'm going to open something up that I've not done in a long, long time, in several years, where you can hire me to either just do a 1 session, kind of an x-ray, because I'm really good at just like seeing stuff really fast. Or you can also hire me to do a 3-session package. So if you're thinking like, oh, I would love for you to take a look at an area of my life that's not working or that's not working as well as I'd like it to, send me a message. My email is hello@annakmorris.com. DM me, Facebook message, whatever you want to do. hello@annakmorris.com. It's going to be the easiest over email, and send me a message and I'll send you the details. But if you want to just do a little bit with me, I'm going to open that up right away. Okay. I love you. Thanks for watching. Bye. Thank you so much for being here. It is an honor and a privilege to have this conversation with you as we expand in the world. What is it that we want? Do we believe that we can have it all? I hope this episode gave you some insights and some things to think about, and most importantly, some actions to go and take in your own life. If one of those actions is reaching out to me, I'm so thrilled and honored. You can always find me on my website, annakmorris.com, and you can always send me an email, hello@annakmorris.com. DM, texting, if you have my number, any of that is great too, and I would love to be in touch with you and help you have it all. I love you, and thank you so much for being here.